Hey guys, it's Monique from Vegan Living 24/7. So this is a topic that I've wanted to do for a really long time. Doing a lot of thinking over the last few months, and I think it's important to just get the conversation going. And that's basically that I feel like all vegans need to try and find different forms of activism that feels right for you. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit, and you might be surprised. Like, okay, here's the thing, guys. I'm a bit of a shy person, soft-spoken type person. I feel very awkward at times. I do not like confrontation. I hate confrontation. I'm not very good at having philosophical debates and that sort of thing. I feel like I could get better with practice, of course. So basically, I was part of Anonymous for the Voiceless doing the Cube of Truth for quite a while, and then I felt like I was doing too many things and I was getting overwhelmed. So I kind of backed out of it, and then I started getting intimidated again about the idea of like returning to it. So even I'm not like super active out there, and I would like to be more so. So I figured I would kind of use my YouTube channel and bring up this conversation of activism and bring up some maybe difficult topics to talk about, and so it can be kind of like my way of practicing in a way, but also to get your guys' feedback and your guys' thoughts on the whole entire thing itself as well. So a lot of vegans would probably label me as an apologist vegan. Maybe that's kind of true. I don't know. I always still believe that even though it might be hard for some people to go vegan and some people need to take their time a little bit, I don't believe in the black and white of you must go vegan right now kind of thing, because some people they can't do that. Just because I was able to do that doesn't mean that everyone else is able to do that. I know a lot of vegans actually that had to do it in steps over the years, and they're still vegan now, and they've done a lot of research, and they're even vegan activists, and they feel very strongly and passionately about it. So I don't think that, I don't know. I personally don't think that advocating for someone to go vegan right on the spot, and it's a hard all in or nothing, is necessarily the greatest approach. But at the same time, I also want to make it very clear that I think that all forms of activism are good, even the ones that maybe I don't necessarily fully agree with, because you know why? As I said, that I'm kind of a shy, awkward, uncomfortable with debates and stuff like that type person, but not everybody is. Some people have very strong opinions, very vocal, very opinionated. Some people get angry very quickly. Some people, like everyone's like different. So that's why I really truly believe that like all the different forms of activism and everyone trying out a whole bunch of the different ones and then figuring out which ones are best for you and which ones you think you should continue to spend your energy into. I think that's why that's really important. So for example, like I used to think it was a little bit too out there and probably like not very helpful to go like how Direct Action Everywhere, their group, sometimes they'll do disruptions where they'll go into like a restaurant, or they'll go and do like the fur protests at like Canada Goose, or just all those kind of things where they'll actually go in and like have like the little megaphone and do a little chant thing and go around the establishment, and then obviously they're only in there for a few minutes because they do get kicked out, obviously. But I used to think that was a little too extreme, but the longer that I've been doing this, the more that I can kind of appreciate that, because okay, so a lot of people watching that and being in those restaurants, being in those stores, probably do think that those people are crazy. But there might be like the odd few that are like, okay, that was a little bizarre, but like maybe it makes them self-reflect a little bit. Maybe, like, you don't really know. Like as I said, like everyone is a little bit different, and different things are gonna kind of like pick away over time at someone. Like I don't really personally believe that that's gonna make someone go vegan right on the spot, but like it's a seed that's been planted, and so that's why I just don't. Some people aren't going to listen to a person like myself that's a little bit more of a passive approach. Like some people will, because some people, they need that nice, kind person that's their little cheerleader in their corner. Hooray! You've done so well. You've cut out like this animal product. Woohoo! Like I don't really fully do that, but do you know what I mean? Like some people, they need that like that non-judgment from someone, that they've made these little steps and these little changes, because over time those things do add up. I really believe that every single vegan has, just by being vegan and like telling other people that you're vegan, it has a ripple effect in the sense that your friends and your family, your peers, looking at you will be kind of curious about veganism, even if it's not like they're thinking to themselves, oh, I could never go vegan. It's going to kind of have like this effect on them where they're going to be kind of curious about it, and maybe they'll like try and experiment with different vegan products and that sort of thing. So over time, like, you know, each of us, we're having this little ripple effect, so that's kind of nice to think about. But overall, I think if we want the vegan movement to kind of expedite and like grow faster, I think that we need to try and work together. So strength really does come in numbers. So like whenever I personally watch videos where there's like a huge group of people all in support for something, I'm kind of in awe. So the London marches, like the official animal rights march that happens at the end of August, whenever I watch those videos, I get like so overwhelmed with emotion. Like, I don't really know how a non-vegan feels when they're looking at that. So if you are non-vegan, maybe like comment down below what you think about those kind of videos. For me, it gets me very emotional because it's so nice to see so many people come together. Because the thing is okay, so even though veganism is a minority, there still is a lot of us. So imagine if we all always just came together to like actively speak up about this. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm going to be doing next year in 2020, is help lead some animal rights marches, because I was in one of them in Sylvan Lake. That's a small town in Alberta, and there's only probably about like 15 of us or something, but it like really gave me this like really great energy high. I felt really good being with like a group of like-minded individuals and speaking up, and we weren't being like super aggressive or anything like that. We just kind of like marched down the street holding signs, and a couple people were on like a megaphone that would say one part of the chant / song thing, and then we would say the other part of it. And so we marched along one way and then we marched back. I don't know, I just found that it felt really good, and I just feel like if we can just get to the point where there's a whole bunch of us, like the way how London has it, where they have like thousands of people that go there, and I think that each year it's going to keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger. I think that when there's more of us, that people don't look, non-vegans will be less likely to look at us like we're super crazy. I think if there's like hundreds of us or thousands of us, that they're gonna look at us and be like, wow, like maybe they're kind of onto something. Like humans are like all about wanting to be liked by society. We have like this whole like peer pressure kind of thing where we want to fit in, we want life to be easy and comfortable. So a lot of people, they don't go towards something that's against the norm. So I definitely believe that strength does come in numbers. I think that when a group, even a small group, gets together, that it can have a way better impact. So I really, really, really encourage you guys to please look into different forms of activism. So going out into the marches, doing the Cube of Truths, there's so many different ones. I'm going to be doing another video where I'm going to kind of like briefly list the different types of activism, but like, you know, you can do like chalk art, you can go and do the disruptions like I was saying, you can go to vigils for that one, and I would definitely recommend maybe not that being your first one, just because it can be a bit emotional. Like somehow I'm able to turn off my emotions when I'm doing those things. So vigil is basically you're waiting outside of a slaughterhouse. You're waiting for like the slaughterhouse transport trucks to come by, and someone stops the truck, or you wait for them to stop at like a stoplight or something like that, and then you go up to the truck and try to like film inside of it, and then say if it's like a hot day or something like that, you might like try to give the animals water. So you're kind of there in their final moments of life, because you know that shortly after that, probably hours after that, they're going to be slaughtered. So it can be highly emotionally draining for a lot of activists. For some reason, I'm just thinking about the purpose of it, about how I'm there to be there for the animals and to like film and take the photos to be able to share on social media, to be like, hey, this is local footage. Like, 'cause a lot of people always say, oh, you know, in my country everything's all good, everything's fine, we do things humanely, like the animals are treated great, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, there's like nowhere where like everything's done like super great. And honestly, like, the more you look into it, the more you think about it, like, there really is no humane way to kill a living being that doesn't want to die, like a sentient being that does not want to die. Like, the only thing that I can think of that's humane is like when we put our dog or cat to sleep because they're sick and injured or whatever, and it would be like inhumane to make them limp around just so that we can have them in our lives longer. Or like it's considered humane to like put a human out of their misery or whatever because they're suffering. Or like you find like like you hit an animal on the side of the road or whatever, and they're like super injured, and you just know that like taking them to the vet, they're just going to suffer and they're not going to live. Like, then it puts you into that position of like, should I do that, or should I like end their life there, like to put them out of their suffering? To me, like, that's the only humane way to kill an animal, because at that point they're probably like, I mean, it's hard to say if they're like, they've given up on life at that point, but I think that like when an animal is suffering, including human animals, like suffering to the point of like they're gonna die soon, or slowly wither away in a lot of pain, I think that that's like kind of the only humane way to kill them. And with that, they like kind of put them to sleep by like giving them an injection. But they would never do that to animals that are going to become meat, because that would apparently, because I remember bringing that up to someone and they're like, they would never do that because that would taint the meat or something. And I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I guess for this first video, it's just to kind of like start the conversation going and to say that strength really does come in numbers. And also there's so many different forms of activism out there, and I really think that there needs to stop with the in-house fighting amongst vegans about saying like which forms of activism you think aren't productive. It's like, okay, well, if you don't think that's productive, why don't you do a different form? Why don't you show the world that... Here's the thing, like a lot of people will say, I've heard quite a few vegans say that sometimes they call themselves plant-based because they don't like the, is it called connotation? They don't like the association around the word vegan, because a lot of times people think of a vegan as being pushy and like arrogant and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why don't you take back the word then? Why don't you show people around you in your life that veganism is still who you are? Like, I don't know, being a vegan or being an omnivore or being a vegetarian, etc., doesn't like define you completely as a person. You're still like your own self. Like, you just have now, like with me going vegan, is just, I'm a little bit more firm with like, and more direct with my morals, you know, like I'm living in alignment with my morals. So that's kind of like the only thing that's really changed. I've become a little bit more passionate about talking about it, and about sharing veganism and about speaking up for the animals. But that's really the only thing that's really changed. Like everything else, and also, I mean, it kind of opened me up to like more ethical things, like trying to treat the earth better and that sort of thing, which honestly I'm not perfect at, but I'm trying, I'm making efforts. And again, like with that, I'm not a perfect no waste type person or minimalist type person. I do eat products that have plastic or like packaged in plastic, or that have palm oil. So with that being said, like, who am I to be someone that's super judgmental to someone that's slowly transitioning into veganism and slowly trying it out, when I myself am like slowly like cutting out palm oil and slowly like trying to like find waste-free products, you know? I don't know, I guess that's just kind of something that I think about, and that's the reason why I don't see veganism as black and white. Obviously, I would prefer for people that I love and care about especially to go fully vegan instead of slowly going into it. But not everyone is the same. Not everyone has their priorities in the same way. Not everyone believes in the same things, you know, and people don't like feeling like they're pushed into a corner and told what to do and this is what they have to do. They like to come up with those thoughts and those opinions, those beliefs on their own. So with Jeff, that's my boyfriend, I've just found that like the more space that I give him, like the more he comes into it on his own. I think he really truly does respect the fact that I am vegan, and sometimes I think that like he's just afraid to try it because he doesn't want to. I can't even really say, because I can't really speak for him, but I feel like he just doesn't want to like give up like the ability to choose whatever he wants whenever he wants. So he does eat a lot of vegan items, but he also has chosen veganism, like to be fully vegan for lots of days, like, but then there's other times where he doesn't, and it's hard. Obviously for me it's hard some days, and other days it's not so hard because like he doesn't really, it's not like he comes home and tells me that he went and ate that stuff. So yeah, as I said, I am a passive, kind of more of a passive individual, but some people are more assertive, some people are more aggressive. So it's all about trying to find your style, your form of speaking up for the animals, and pushing past your comfort zone and just trying the different forms, because you never know until you try it, like whether or not it's gonna work for you. And it's really nice to surround yourself with more people that have that same belief system as you do, especially if it's coming from an ethical standpoint of view. Yeah, I hope that I will see you guys in like future activism events if you live here in Edmonton. I'm gonna link down below some of the pages that you should go check out. I think some of the groups are private on Facebook, just because we're trying to keep it so that people don't come in and like become a troll or spy on us or whatever. So yeah, but I'll link like the page down below anyways, and then I think some of the events will be listed publicly and you can join some of those things, and then probably be added to the groups as like the private groups after that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, especially if you've watched right to the end, because I kind of rambled a bit. I wasn't fully sure what to talk about. I did write a little bit on this piece of paper, but just for some pointers to get my brain going. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Veg, peace and love. Till next time. Bye.